gonna play a little bit of music real quick.
Oh man.
I'm sorry.
I'm 45, don't get out of line.
I'm sorry. I was playing around.
Yeah, you put Beyonce in my ears. No warning. No warning. You put Beyonce in my ears and had me dance to it and everything. That's crazy.
That's how you know the hate is real.
I wouldn't say it's hate. I would just say it's really strong unlove.
Do you think we were gonna go to the whole podcast when Beyonce dropped the new album and I wasn't gonna play it? Granted, I'm not the biggest Beyonce fan either, but good music is good music to me. I don't hate because you just bought me a whole body to that.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. If you don't dance while music's playing, you look really awkward on camera. You just stand there for like.
But you know I was bumping though. Now you hate. Now the hate's there. Now the hate's there.
Is that something I'd listen to on my own? No.
I don't believe that.
Thank you.
What's this guy's name?
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We have a special guest, Rayvon. Do what you do.
Hey, yo, I'm Blade. What's up, y'all?
Please introduce our guest like you always.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Hey, guys. So I'm gonna say Jake and not Jacob.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I go by Jake.
All right, cool. So today, guys, we got Jake here with us. Jake is an artist who we are supporting. He's got an event at the Electric Haze happening this upcoming weekend. Catch me there tabling and getting my drink on. We're really excited for him. I know he just put up some artwork today, getting ready for his event at the Electric Haze. Jake, I'll let you take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, actually, when I'm making art, I go by the name MakerJake.
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 It's catchy. It's kind of annoying though.
That's also your at name, right? Let him know.
Yeah, it is. So on Instagram, it's at MakerJake. No, but I'm a teacher, and I started teaching high school art after I graduated. Speaking of which, did I hear you guys say Umass Dartmouth?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Me too.
Wait, what?
Yeah, what up?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Small
So
world.
much for a smoke-free campus. Right?
Yeah, man, I just moved out of New Bedford like last year, actually.
Oh, fire.
That's crazy.
What year did you graduate?
2015.
Holy shit.
You graduated the same time as me.
So, what year did you graduate?
Like 2020.
Oh, shit.
I'm a kid, bro.
Yeah, I know, but I swear to God, I was an RA on campus.
Okay.
And I swear to God, for a second, I was like, yo, was he one of my residents? No, it couldn't have
I
been.
mean, I was there. Oh, well, now you graduated 2015. I got there 2015.
Yeah, I know. No, couldn't have been.
Funny.
That's crazy. That's
yeah,
crazy. Hell yeah.
Small world. But yeah, so I was teaching high school, and I didn't want my students to find me on Instagram because I was only like 3 years older than them because I'm young, for my class. So I was like, I'm gonna make up this name MakerJake so they can't find me on Facebook, and that shit just stuck.
Really?
Yeah. So now it's like I walk through New Bedford and people are like, "Oh, you're Maker," and I'm like,
No.
"Yo, that's not my first name,
No.
man." I get emails, "Hello, Mr. MakerJake." I'm like ruins it.
No, I'm
ruins
dead.
it. But yeah, so I grew up just outside of Worcester. I grew up in Spencer until I went to Umass Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Been making art. I started in photography, switched to illustration, ended up in art education. So I'm a licensed art teacher, K through 12.
Okay.
And I've kind of been bouncing around since I graduated. Started doing some sculpture right then. Moved on to doing some painting. Lately I've been doing some murals, some large scale stuff. So that's kind of, yeah.
Word. So, I mean, I guess we're talking about you being a teacher right now. How does it feel being a teacher, really, especially an art teacher?
I mean, the last couple of years have been wild.
Actually, how can you do art? How is it being an art teacher?
Online.
You know what I'm saying?
It was wild, man. So we sent packets of art supplies home with the kids. So it really limited what we could do. It was like watercolor paints, oil pastels, color pencils, crayons, markers, and like a little bit of air dry clay. And I would just pop on Zoom. And basically, I'd like kind of get the kids started on a project, and then they could kind of go into their own like Zoom breakout rooms and like chat and be more casual than just staring at me the whole time. But it was wild. I mean, It was actually, in some ways, it was great. I taught kindergartners that year, and I'm sitting there, and I'm watching, and this girl just like accidentally smacks like the whole paint water, and it just spills all over the place, and I'm like,
thank God this is not my class.
That's not my classroom, man. That's somebody else's problem. But it was, one nice thing was I felt like for the first time, all of my students had space and materials to make art at home.
Yeah.
So like for the kids that would have never made art at home, like
they can do it.
They were doing it, and there's no excuses. They had all the materials.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of impact, like long term, that made. Like, were they making art after that? Were they using those supplies? I like to think yes.
Yeah. I mean, it at least gives you the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Versus where, like, I mean, if my parents were forced to help me with art at home when I was a kid, it might have been a little bit different. But like, I mean, I still love art. So it still worked out because, I mean, my parents, I mean, they would have been trash.
Yeah.
I would have been terrible at art if I was a kid.
Well, it's funny because, like, at the end of class, they'd be like, all right, kids, like, hold up what you worked on today. And so many parents that was sitting there, too, held up their drawing. I'm like, I'm not talking to you. Like, lady, I get it. You can also draw a penguin. But, yeah, so other than that, it's great. I teach 3rd through 5th.
Okay.
Which I think is like the perfect age because they still like kind of care what you think.
Yeah.
They're still trying to impress you. They're not necessarily like comparing each other.
Yeah.
Middle school, you start seeing like, why should I do that? Like so and so's.
Yeah.
But
Middle schoolers are the worst.
Yo, it's the only grade I will not teach.
No,
Really?
that whole like 6, 7, 8, that awkward phase of like preteen, pubescent, whatever.
It's a lot of drama.
It's a lot.
It's
Wow.
even at the end of 5th grade, I'm like, you guys can go now. We're good.
All right, so how did you start working with the Haze? I know that's what you do now. How did you get with them?
So it's kind of a funny story. So again, I moved out, I graduated high school in 2011, so I've been out of the area since then. And I was actually just talking to the guys at Electric Haze saying, like, I feel like there was nothing going on here when I left. I was big into, like, the punk hardcore scene, so there was, like, a lot of Palladium concerts, a lot of stuff like that.
Great scene, by the way. Great scene.
Yeah, but then I haven't been back since. And weirdly enough, I had shown some work at Birch Tree Bread Company, because I know the owners there. Actually, I think they used to babysit me when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Electric Haze had posted just like an open call for entry, like any artists interested in showing at Electric Haze. And I sent that message, I feel like it was like 2 years ago. And then Chris, who's running their exhibitions now, reached out to me, earlier this year and was like, hey, I'm in charge of this now. Hadn't seen your application. We want you to come out. So he and I have been talking back and forth. He came out to an exhibition I had out in Marion, Mass, which is kind of, out towards New Bedford side. So we just kind of bounced ideas back and forth for the show. So we're pretty pumped. It's been, a year in the making. And it's a series. So this work is a series of abstract portraits.
Okay.
So they're obviously not realistic, but I focus on building layers of paint, screen printing, spray paint, so kind of whatever I have my hands on. And each and every piece has something to do with identity and kind of thinking about like how we pick and choose experiences in our life and parts of experiences that kind of go into who we are as a person.
Okay.
And it's this process of collecting. I think about it like collecting. Obviously sometimes we go through some shit that we collect experiences from that we probably wouldn't have chosen. Yeah. But it is just a process of building and layering and thinking about. And it's like, sometimes it's big, important ideas about who you are as a person. But sometimes it's like, like my mom moved to Texas. And like a month later, she started saying y'all. You know what I mean? It's like, it's funny what you pick. As you're like, that's something cool that I want to be part of me. And especially like when we talk about some formative years, like, getting into art in like high school, it's like you got no idea who you are.
Yeah.
And you just want to make the coolest version of yourself. And you're just pulling at like ridiculous things. So the work is cool. It's mixed media on paper.
No, I think that, I mean, that sounds amazing because, like, I mean, even if you think about it, a lot of people, everyone goes through good and bad things, but sometimes people minimize the good, where that's like a positive experience that could push you forward, and then they over accentualize the bad, and that's kind of how they start projecting, and they don't realize that's what they're doing when you could, focus on the good things instead of the bad ones, and taking everything a day by day. But so I mean, that sounds like a great project, actually. Very good.
Thank you. Yeah, all about learning.
Hell yeah. That's not, and it, works as you being the teacher to really be able to like I hate saying dumb it down, but be able to dumb it down so more people can understand your art.
I got a master's degree in explaining it to kids.
No, I can say, explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah.
You really can.
I'll hone it in there for you, dude. I'll draw you a picture.
That's good. All right, so where can people actually get a chance to see your art besides if they're not able to make it to the show?
Good question. So again, Instagram's probably the best bet.
Okay.
At MakerJake is my tag there. There's a link to my website there. But yeah, and you'll see on Instagram like some of the mural work. So I start a mural tomorrow, actually, in New Bedford, on the Gomes School, which is elementary school. If you're heading towards like the south end.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
3,000 square feet.
Wow.
So the wall's like 40 feet tall and like 65 feet long.
Wow.
So it's gonna be huge.
Are you doing that by yourself or with somebody?
I got a few assistants.
Okay.
I got a few assistants and a few volunteers. But so much of it has to be done on like a boom that there's not much.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I can have volunteers do like the bottom 4 feet.
No, that's good.
Yeah, so yeah, Instagram's the best way to reach out to me. I also have a series because my family's Native American.
Okay.
So I also have a series that's a little bit more like a storytelling series that has to do a lot more with kind of animals and traditional stories and experiences through that. And you'll see if you go on, like you'll see where each of those series influences each other. But the animals, that's all primarily digital work. Well, the stuff at Electric Haze is all originals.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see that. What day is that again?
That's August 6th, Saturday.
Okay, where?
And we're doing a cool thing too. From 8 to 9, I'll be there doing live $5 portraits. So you show up, $5. I'll do like a custom portrait in my style, so it's gonna be abstract.
Yeah.
And all that money is gonna go to a local nonprofit Nipmuc organization.
Oh wow. Okay. Word.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Speaking of your do you do any like art just for anybody who's looking to buy something privately?
Yeah, I do commissions and stuff. Commissions tend to be funny since I do abstract faces. I get a little nervous when they're like, "Hey, would you like to do a portrait of my husband?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great, but like, it's not gonna look like it." But yeah, I do end up doing a lot of commissions. Actually, like nowadays, it's been more mural commissions. It's been businesses. It's been I do residential murals, so I've gone into people's homes and done custom murals.
Like on their walls?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, kind of matching, the feel for the room and the colors. I just had a guy hit me up. I think I'm gonna paint an ice cream truck next.
Okay.
Which at first I was like, that sounds weird, but I think it's gonna be a wicked sick project.
Okay, word. That's fine.
It'll be nice to have a moving piece of art.
Seriously, like I hope I can get my Instagram tag on there big enough.
Yeah. I used to ride around with my Instagram tag on a piece of paper on my school bus window so that all the kids walking by could see follow at Rayvon Williams. I got no followers from it, but it's the fact that I tried.
Yeah,
it's the fact that I tried.
That's lit.
So I'd actually like to ask, you mentioned a couple minutes ago talking about like your art and kind of like Harry said, dumbing it down in a way, not necessarily dumbing it down, but like working as a school teacher, how do you feel like you can consistently like find, maybe not influence from your kids, but like teachers are like, we learn from you guys just as much as you learn from us, and like having that, I feel like being with those younger kids especially, you get to constantly have like that, like the kid in you is always alive, you know what I mean? Like if I pulled candy out of my pocket, you're jumping right now, you know what I mean?
So that sounds a little aggressive.
Yeah.
I'd be happy for some candy, but
Yeah. No, and it's funny because like sometimes it's like conversations, sometimes it's technical stuff. So for instance, like my 5th graders do a whole series of portrait drawing, and sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, like when you're drawing the proportions of the face, like this is where the nose goes. And I look at one of my paintings and I go, oh shit, I gotta fix that one, you know? So sometimes it's as simple as that. But other times it's just, you know, it's wild conversations. It's, you know, the 3rd through 5th graders, like, they're learning so fast, and it's like I talked about earlier, like building that identity, the things they're looking at, the things they're thinking about, and how they're processing them. And they also kind of have like no fear in talking about it, you know?
Wow, yeah, I envy that.
Yeah, exactly. And like their willingness to like, especially in the art room, like completely try new things. And I mean, we have a curriculum we follow, I go through the standards and everything, but there's a lot of times where like, you know, a kid comes up with a great idea to do something completely not what I'm teaching the class. And it's like, how do I say no to that? You know? So just kind of following their thought process, seeing how they're coming up with ideas and how those ideas are connecting definitely helps. And sometimes it's like, you know, they use like paper placemats and like they'll put their watercolor painting on top and then paint it. And sometimes just like the residue of what's left on the placemat, I'm like, yo, those brush strokes are sick.
I was like, I didn't know. I just put the paper down.
Yeah, seriously. And sometimes I get like so jazzed about their projects, and they're like, relax. You know?
Have you had any students that you feel are a little bit better than you at art or no?
You know, that's tough. When
That's
I was
a
teaching at the high
challenge.
school, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And
There's definitely, let's put it this way, there's definitely students that I've got that in 3rd grade I know will be better than me.
okay. And how do you go handling that type of student, especially like, you know, imagine
I tell them to study math.
I was about to say, because the guy who has to handle LeBron James as a kid and be like, yeah, I got to teach this guy how to play basketball, and I'm pretty sure that his left arm is better than all of my body at basketball right now. How do I tell him how to, like, do stuff?
Yeah, and that is a tough thing. And again, like, I think high school teachers deal with it a lot more, too.
Yeah.
But it has to do with like being able to talk about art. Like we went to college for art. There's like certain understandings that we have. There's ways of talking about art. There's composition. There's approach. There's how to use the materials specifically that you can kind of always explain. So one of the things I like to talk to my students is like, we can go to the Louvre. We can go to the most famous art museums. We can talk about famous paintings and we can critique them. We can talk about the things that we like, the things that we don't like about them. We can talk about things that we would do differently. Like just because a painting is super famous and everyone loves it doesn't mean you have to. And it doesn't mean that there aren't things that artist could have done differently. So I think that it's important that, I think one of the biggest things we teach as art teachers and walk away with as artists is the ability to be critiqued and be okay with that. Like even in my professional world all the time, like, you know, the principal pops in or you know, my director pops in and says like, oh, you know, I noticed that you weren't doing this or that you weren't doing that. Like, how about trying this? How about trying that? And that's something that, like, I love that because it means I can get better. And as an artist, like, we're so used to being critiqued in that way that, like, we don't take it personally. Yeah. You know, so it's like I don't go home and I'm like, oh, man, you know, like my principal today told me to do this. It's like, oh, like I got really good feedback today. Here's what I'm going to try tomorrow.
Yeah, it's all about, like, constructive criticism and also just how it's kind of given to you in a way. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And I also feel like, and I guess I'll ask if you had to learn this at some point, because I did, like art being subjective and not objective. And like you said, like being able to be like, the Mona Lisa's cool, but like, I don't like this about it. And feel like you can say that without being attacked for it. Like, I mean, Harry just played a song and I was like, I'm not really a fan. And Harry's over here like, this shit's a banger, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Hold on, I only said it because he was very jazzed to hear it. And as soon as he heard Beyonce's voice, he was like, oh no, this is trash.
I'm a Solange man. What kind of?
Oh my God.
You can be both.
You
It's
can.
okay.
It's okay, man.
Nah. You guys are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to learn it. And like, we live in and we teach in a world that's so right or wrong. You know, we're teaching to the test. We're understanding that there are right answers and there are wrong answers, which is so rarely the case.
Yeah.
You know, and really using the platform of art to kind of push that. Like you said, the Mona Lisa is the world's most famous painting. I would hang it in my house.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it's,
know,
not, it's
like-
not the greatest painting.
If-
It's the greatest, but it's not like the greatest.
If someone gave it to me, I would sell it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
All day. All day.
Yeah.
If it was given to me without context, I'd be like, cool.
Yeah, that's, you know, I
Like,
mean.
would I put us in the bathroom or?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No.
Nah, all disrespect to who was it? Louis? Who made it? I don't even know. But Leonardo.
Yeah.
Look at you. You on the pulse, my friend.
He took art history in high school.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
you've done it for this guy's
You're making
job,
an art
huh?
teacher proud somewhere right now, man.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Shortsleeve. She was a great teacher. Great teacher.
Oh, man.
All right, so we all did go to the same school.
Wild.
How much does UMass influence your art?
Yo, that's funny as hell. So it's funny because my fiance went there too. We were in the
Okay.
same class, and she hated school.
You-
And I loved school.
You were in my class. Oh, not in the same class, but we were
Yeah,
in the same
same,
grade. But
yeah.
like, I hated school too, so I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it was the bane of her existence. But no, a lot. I had really amazing art education professors specifically, and it's really funny because you have to focus when you're studying art education. You can have a concentration, so it's like you can do art ed with a concentration in ceramics, and you
Okay.
take like all these art classes in ceramics. You can also just take a shitload of different art classes, right? You can take drawing, you can take painting, you can take photography. Because I switched majors, I started as photography, switched to illustration, and then switched. All of my electives were in illustration.
Okay.
So like I didn't really get to play around with other stuff. But my art education professors were really good and really pushed that if you are going to teach art, you have to be a working artist. Like you have to be connected, you have to be making art, you have to be understanding what the kids are going through in order to teach it. So
Pretty good, by the way. That's pretty fair, low key.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially if like you're teaching these kids that this is a career option, right? Not just a hobby. You got to own that.
Yeah.
So they pushed a lot of like studio time, and we talked a lot about the work we were making, and it was really cool because it wasn't a specific medium.
Okay.
Right, so we had research classes where you'd literally you'd start working on a project and you'd take notes, like when you got stumped, things that helped you get through creativity blocks, things like that, so that you can use that information to help working with students. Because basically what we've learned is creativity is a skill that can be taught.
Yeah.
It's a muscle that needs to be flexed, it needs to be worked, it needs to be practiced. There are all different techniques for teaching it, but it's not something you have or you don't have. So it influences my work a lot. Specifically, I want to give a shout out. I had a professor, Christy Oliver, who was fire for yeah. She actually works in Worcester now at Davis Publications.
Okay.
But yeah, and all the time. And New Bedford's a hot spot for art. It actually, I think it's in the early 70s, they bought the Swain School, which is a small art college in New Bedford, and UMass bought them. And that's why there's a lot of like old school artists in the area. It's also some inexpensive studio spaces. So it's for like a lot of early artists getting things figured out. You can get kind of a big space in one of the mill buildings, get some cool stuff done there. So that's why I'm really happy to be going back tomorrow and starting working on like a big project for the community. Because like I said, we've lived there, for like 7 or 8 years. We didn't leave after graduation.
Okay. Word. And I mean, I feel like it's very important to always like give back, especially art-wise, to the community that that kind of fueled wherever you're doing. So I know a lot of artists here do a lot of art out here, and I feel like seeing it is always it's a good feeling type of thing. You get to see people. I know this artist that did this. I know the artist that did that. So it's very cool, and I know it's probably really cool for your students to see like, oh, my teacher is doing this and my teacher's doing that, and I mean, it also enforces that, yes, you are a great artist, not just a guy that got paid to teach you how to paint a couple of little things. So yeah.
And I got families in my community that like have purchased my paintings.
Okay.
So it's like I got students with like my art hanging in their bedroom
house,
and stuff, which is cool. A constant reminder that I'm the best teacher.
All right. So was there anything else that you had? Any other events? Any contact information if anyone's looking for some art?
Nah, not specifically.
Okay.
I did want to mention that, don't worry, I also can't swim.
Okay.
So there's a dunk tank on August 13th. You ain't not going to see me here.
There will not be a dunk tank
Thank
either.
you. Thank
Mark
you.
my words.
Yo. But if you can't make it out on Saturday to the event, like you mentioned, part of your event on the 13th will be at Electric Haze too.
Okay.
So the work will still be up there.
Word. Hell yeah,
And you can check it out then.
Okay, word.
Well, wait, speaking of work, actually, if you can give a little bit of information about what you're going to start for a mural tomorrow, I'm pretty interested in that. You said a 40 by 6. That's pretty big,
It's
bro.
huge. Yeah, so, all right, I'll give you a breakdown for it. It's cool. It's at a public school in New Bedford that focuses on multicultural education and global citizenship, which is like a lot of like education jargon, basically saying creating a diverse population, teaching diverse education and inclusion. Part of the deal was I had to get input from the students. So I like kind of made some videos and stuff and like got them thinking about mural designs. What I got back was mostly country flags, right? They're thinking their community and people in their community, and that was represented through a bunch of different country flags.
Gotcha.
Which like obviously is a great representation of the people in the community. They're not fun to draw, you know? I was like, I'm not gonna do a big wall of rectangles. So what I ended up doing was a series of 10 monarch butterflies, because monarch butterflies cross international borders during migration. So I was like, all right, we got multicultural, we got global citizenship. And each butterfly has the colors of flags represented by the students in the school. And then it's like my abstract patterns, like a lot of, you know, like the native repetitive shapes and patterns fill each one of those. And then there's like a flowing blue background that connects them all. But each butterfly is 13 feet wide and 18 feet tall.
It's bigger than me.
Like, honestly, like it's kind of hard to fathom. Like I'm a little nervous getting down there.
Is this the biggest you've done?
Oh yeah.
Sweet. I'd really like to see it, because you said New Bedford. There's got to be a lot of Cape Verdean kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my
absolutely,
God.
absolutely. Cape Verde flag's on there.
Oh, I'd love to
Okay,
see.
word.
I got to
Yeah.
see a Cape Verdean flag.
So-
Ray
and
Vaughn
this-
is Cape Verdean.
I'm Cape Verdean.
Absolutely, yeah. I heard your
I wear
house
it
is the
on my
11th
sleeve.
island. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing they're doing with the mural is the New Bedford Symphony Orchestra assigned, so like they digitally took the mural, they assigned a note to go with each color. So like blue is this note, light blue is this note, red is this note, so that you'll be able to walk up to like a small printout of the mural, click a butterfly, and that butterfly will, based on the colors in it, play a chord of music. So it's like kids can go up and like actually interact with the butterflies that represent the countries they're from, but are then connected to chords and notes played by the New Bedford Symphony Orchestra.
Wow.
That's actually pretty sick, bro.
Yo, it's the wildest thing
That's
I've ever
actually
seen. Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, let me give you a round of applause for what you're doing out here, man. You know?
Thank you.
And something you said stuck with me, talking about the education of creativity, saying that could be something taught. You should definitely do a TED Talk or something about that.
Yeah.
Like that.
There's a few. I'll send them to you.
You know what I'm saying? It's a very wild concept for people to understand. Like, cause some people are like, I'm not creative. I'm like, have you actually tried? And do you even know what, like, creativity is not even, it's real and it's fake at the same time. It's just what you think is good.
I gotta say, like, well, I got a platform. The worst thing you can do for your children, as far as art goes, is say stuff like, I'm not creative. I'm not an artist. Like, I'm just, you know, that's not me. Like, you gotta explain that it's a choice. If you wanna be, you wanna be, you know? Like, not being into art is not being the same as, like, I can't do that. And, like,
Yeah.
I'm not an artist. I'm not creative.
Word.
Right? It's like, I'm not a baseball player, but that's because I don't play baseball.
Like, I didn't try.
Like,
either.
that's, yeah.
All right. Well, Ray Vaughn, if you have anything else?
I'm just. Oh, actually, I did.
Okay.
I had one question for
Yeah.
something I really wanted to talk about. Was excuse me, teaching younger kids, and I wanted to talk about how today's kids, and I mean even when we were kids, bro, we all had like phones and stuff in school. You know, we got caught texting. I mean, not me. I was a big kid.
Yeah,
you know
of
what I'm saying,
course,
bro? I stuck
of
to the
course.
books. My mom sometimes kept my phone at home,
Yeah.
but how does it, I guess it doesn't really differ for you unless you've seen like with the high school kids, like them being more in tune with that. But for these younger kids who don't have like a distraction that's always in front of them, but still kind of have the influence of that stuff because they get home and they watch YouTube.
Yeah, oh yeah,
but they're not
absolutely.
doing it in school like the older kids.
Yeah, well, I thought it was hilarious that like we started this podcast with Chocolate Rain. Yeah, 'cause that's like again, like OG YouTube. But nowadays, like the last couple years, definitely had a big psychological impact on like the younger students. Again, this is my like quasi-professional opinion. A lot of those are already like they're growing out of it already, but they spent a lot of time on the internet in the last couple of years, like a lot of time.
Same.
Yeah, right. All of us did. Yeah, I was online teaching them. Like, and it's interesting because my students tend to have phones at home, but they don't bring them in. You can't have phones at the school, which is great. But one of the things that we deal with a lot is like bullying, and it's not happening at school. It's happening in group chats, online, at home. So it's like all the time. Parents come in and like, so and so is being bullied. We're like, you know, we're understanding, we're trying to help, but it's like not happening at school. You know, sometimes
How do
it
you
is.
control that?
Right,
How do you
exactly.
control that,
You
yeah.
know, so there's like definitely like a lot of social stuff that happens. And again, I feel like we got through those early formative years without those concerns. And they're kind of learning these social skills with this added extra layer. Plus
That's
all the
pretty
time.
rough.
Oh, it's tough. And all the time I have 4th and 5th graders that all they want to draw for free drawing is Minecraft YouTubers.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It do be like that though.
It did, you know. There's worse things, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, well, besides that, MakerJake, thank you for stopping by. I'll give you one more last round of applause for sure. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it too. We can't wait to see more of the art, and definitely, you guys get a chance, check out the art show this weekend here at Electric Haze.
Yep.
This next weekend is our
Weekend right after, check out our
weekend right
party.
after. Check out our party.
Back-to-back Saturdays, Electric Haze going crazy.
Oh, before the school year starts.
before the school year starts.
Going
for sure.
dummy.
And this is For the Record. I'm your host, June, here with Blaze. Thank you. Blessings.